It was a warm Saturday evening when my husband, David, told me we were invited to a dinner party. "It's just a small get-together," he said while buttoning his white shirt. "Only a few old friends from work and their wives. You'll like them." I smiled and nodded, but inside I felt a little nervous. I'm not great at social events. I always worry about what people will think of me, how I look, how I dress, or even how I talk. But because David wanted me to come, I agreed. "Don't worry," he said, noticing my quiet face. "You'll be fine. Just be yourself." His warm hand touched mine, and I felt a little better. When we arrived, I was surprised by how elegant the restaurant looked. Soft lights, shiny glasses, and people dressed beautifully. I suddenly became aware of my simple blue dress. I liked it when I wore it at home, but here it felt too plain. David greeted his friends cheerfully. "Hey, long time no see," he said. There were 3 couples already sitting around the big table. One of the wives, Lisa, stood up first. She wore a red dress that looked expensive. Her hair was styled perfectly, and her perfume filled the air. "Wow, David, you didn't tell us your wife is so pretty," she said with a wide smile. Then came Samantha, another wife. She had diamond earrings and a designer handbag. She was talking on her phone, laughing loudly about her new car. The third woman, Nora, looked calm but elegant, with a soft white dress and confident smile. I took my seat quietly next to David and tried to act relaxed. As the evening went on, everyone started talking mostly about travel, work, and expensive things. Lisa said, "We're flying to New York next week. My husband got a big promotion." "Wow, congratulations," everyone said. Then Samantha laughed. "Oh, we just came back from Miami. I bought some gold jewelry there. You know me, I can't resist shopping." I smiled weakly. I had nothing to say about travel or jewelry. David and I rarely go on vacations. We mostly spend weekends cooking together or watching movies at home. Nora joined in. "My husband is planning to buy a new house near the lake. We're so excited to move soon." Everyone nodded, impressed. Then they looked at me. "What about you?" Lisa asked kindly, but her eyes seemed to scan my simple dress. "Do you and David travel often?" I hesitated. Not really. We just like to stay home mostly. We watch movies, cook together, sometimes go for walks in the park." "Oh, that's nice," Nora said softly, though I could hear a small hint of pity in her tone. Lisa smiled politely. "That's cozy." Then they went back to talking about their jobs, salons, and shopping. As I listened, a strange heaviness grew in my chest. I started to feel small, like I didn't belong in that place. Their nails were perfectly done, their clothes smelled expensive, and their words sounded confident. I felt like a simple shadow sitting beside them. Even the way they spoke to their husbands with a mix of charm and pride made me feel unsure about myself. I looked at David. He was laughing with his friends, looking so at ease. I wondered if he noticed how quiet I was. I kept comparing myself silently. I thought, they're beautiful, confident, successful. And me? I'm just me. When the waiter came to take our order, I didn't even know what to choose. I whispered to David, "You order for me, please." He smiled and did it gently, without a trace of annoyance. While everyone was busy chatting and taking photos for social media, David quietly poured me water. He noticed when my glass was almost empty. He asked if I was cold. He gave me a little smile each time our eyes met, the kind of smile that said, "Don't worry, I'm here." It was such a small thing, but it warmed me deeply. At one point, I dropped my fork by accident. Before I could reach down, David had already picked it up and asked the waiter for a new one. Samantha's husband, sitting across from us, barely noticed when his wife called for him twice. Lisa's husband spent half the night checking his phone, and Nora's husband interrupted her stories several times. But David? He listened when I spoke, even when it was something small. He laughed softly at my simple jokes, and he treated me like I mattered quietly, naturally, and fully. Later, when everyone stood up to take photos near the restaurant garden, I stayed behind for a moment. David came to me. "You okay?" he asked gently. "Yes," I said. "I just feel a bit out of place." He looked at me carefully. "Why?" I hesitated, then said softly, "They're all so beautiful, confident. They talk about big things, and I just feel small." David smiled, but not in a teasing way. He looked almost sad for me. He said, "Do you know why I love you?" I looked at him, unsure how to answer. "It's not because of what you wear or what you own," he said. "It's because of how you care, how you listen, how you make home feel peaceful. You make my life lighter. That means more than all the fancy things in the world." My throat felt tight. I wanted to believe him. He held my hand. "Let them shine their way," he said softly. "You shine in yours." When we joined the group outside, the wives posed perfectly, one hand on the hip, one adjusting their hair. I stood a little behind them, unsure where to put my hands. "Come closer," David said, pulling me gently beside him. He smiled proudly while holding my shoulder. The camera flashed several times. Everyone laughed. For a second, I forgot about everything, the dresses, the jewelry, the talk of houses and cars. All I saw was David's happy face beside me. When we got home that night, I took off my shoes and sat quietly on the edge of the bed. David came from behind and hugged me gently. "Thank you for coming with me," he said. I smiled. "It was nice. Just, I don't know why I always compare myself," he said softly. "Because you care. But don't forget, life isn't a competition. You have your own story, your own beauty." His words stayed with me long after he fell asleep. I thought about those wives, how shiny their lives looked from the outside. But I also remembered how one of them argued quietly with her husband during dessert. Another seemed bored most of the night, and one kept checking her phone as if she was lonely. Maybe everyone carries something behind their smiles. A week after the dinner, David got a call from one of his friends. They invited us again for coffee, but this time I didn't feel as nervous. Before we left, I chose a simple floral dress not to impress, but because I liked it. When I looked in the mirror, I whispered, "I am enough." David smiled when he saw me. "You look perfect." At the cafe, I noticed Lisa's smile seemed a little forced. She told us she and her husband had an argument about money. Samantha mentioned she was tired of trying to keep up appearances, and Nora admitted she envied couples who spent quiet time together. That moment, something inside me softened. I realized maybe I was never small. Maybe I just forgot to see the good things I already have. That dinner party taught me something important. It's easy to feel small when we compare our lives with others. It's easy to forget our own blessings when everyone seems to have more beauty, more success, more attention. But love isn't measured by how much we show off. It's measured by the quiet moments, by the way someone holds your hand, listens to your fears, and makes you feel safe in your own skin. I may not have expensive jewelry. I may not travel every month or wear designer clothes, but I have a husband who sees me, cares for me, and chooses me every day. And that, I realized, is worth more than gold. That night, when we came home from the cafe, David and I sat outside under the stars. He brought me tea, the way he always does. "Remember that dinner party?" he asked with a smile. "How could I forget?" I laughed. He looked at me warmly. "You seemed different tonight. Happier." I am, I said softly. I finally understood something. What's that? That I don't need to be like anyone else. I just need to be me. David smiled and squeezed my hand. That's the woman I fell in love with. We sat there quietly, listening to the night sounds. And in that simple silence, I felt something strong, not pride, not envy, not fear, just peace. For the first time in a long while, I felt big again. Big in heart, big in love, big in the small things that truly matter. We often think happiness comes from having what others have: beautiful clothes, fancy cars, big houses. But real happiness isn't about showing the world how perfect we look. It's about feeling safe, loved, and appreciated by someone who truly cares. That night, I learned something precious. I may feel small sometimes, but in the eyes of the one who loves me, I am more than enough.